Because, Terry, did the Lions ruin your Thanksgiving yesterday?
Absolutely not.
Absolutely not. Although you did watch.
I always watch. I mean, greatest entertainment in sports in Detroit.
Now there's a lot we were talking about before going to the break about, the 3rd and 1 play. Should you have run and controlled the clock? Because that way, worst case scenario, even if you don't score a touchdown, you don't give Buffalo the ball back, or if you throw the ball, why don't you just key on like every other team does? It's going to Amon-Ra St. Brown or something. Is it something being smarter than that? Was this loss on the players, the coaches, or how do you define what's going on in Allen Park right now, and how do we not get back to being in this spot again?
I think it was mostly the coaches, because I thought the players were terrific yesterday. And even on that pass play, I think it was Corey Joseph was 1/1,000,000th of a second late. It was very good coverage, but, Josh Allen is going to make plays because he's a great quarterback. But when you give the team time, and you're going down and you're trying to make it a one-play game, don't give the opposition the one play. You make the last play of the game. The Lions should have made the last play of the game, and that should have been the field goal. You started with 3 seconds left. Time expires. You either go into overtime or you lose.
No, it absolutely.
But put it on you.
Right, absolutely does. Now there's a lot of I see a lot of Aaron Glenn bashing about should he be back next year. Paul Thomas says that when the clock runs out, he should be gone. Different things like that. Was it more to that? Because what I noticed too, and the one thing that I wanted to bring up to you is our team yesterday battled without both starting left guards or left and right guard, right? We're both starters. They were depleted a little bit. At times it showed. Defensively without arguably their number 1 or number 2 cover corner. Depends how you feel on Jeff Okudah. They were down guys there. So is it something that because of the young guys, the way that they lost, the way that they competed, will the young guys come out of this game having more confidence?
Well, yeah, they will. But if you want to get rid of Aaron Glenn, base that on what happened the first month of the season, not on yesterday. I thought the defense played hard. They were scrappy. You have to understand this. Buffalo is a damn good offense, so they're going to score against everybody. If you kick a field goal with no time left on the clock, you go into overtime, and then you just never know what's going to happen in a game like that. I blame this more on Dan Campbell. And the thing that really confuses me is I'm not saying I would fire Dan Campbell, but the public can figure out, they can fire everybody else. They always blame everybody else. Dan Campbell was the one that screwed up yesterday. He didn't play it the way that a real head coach would have played the final minute of that game. But we can fire Aubrey Pleasant. We can fire Aaron Glenn. We could bitch it at Jared Goff. When Dan Campbell, and you asked the question earlier, what should they be doing in Allen Park today? If I'm Dan Campbell, I'm in my office by myself. I don't want anybody in there, but I'm doing self-reflection. What am I doing wrong? What can I do better? Instead of blaming everybody else.
No, I get it. And is that the one thing that you see, Terry? Because I see it also in the chat thread a lot about people don't mind making mistakes, but it's being accountable for them.
Right. And I think he is.
You think he is accountable for him?
It's other people making excuses for him. He's not making the excuses. He will even say, and I know this is coaches speak, but a lot of times he say, this is on me.
So can we agree, right? Dan Campbell is learning how to be a head coach on the job. Do we all agree with that? Or
I would say he is. He's got it down for the most part, but making decisions in the last 3 minutes of the game is a lot different than making it in the first or the second quarter.
What you're getting to my point being was the mistakes that he made as a head coach yesterday consistent with mistakes he's made before, or were they new head coaching last 2-minute mistakes?
Consistent.
It was consistent. So
Right.
then it becomes a problem.
Yeah, it is.
Right. So now we have to look into it. If you view this as something, and I think that it can be, depending how people want to view it. If this was something new that he could learn from, or was this something? Do we are all under 2 minutes because we had the ball, right? We had a 3rd and 1. We had the. You mentioned something, Terry. What do good coaches? What do good teams do? Right? They have the ball deciding their fate. They don't let you get it back. Who learned from that the most? Who's the most in the NFL, right, that has been victim to that? The Buffalo Bills. Yeah. Have they not? This unbelievable defense,
Yeah.
but I seen it this year. I seen the playoffs last year. Patrick Mahomes and KC just go ding, 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 ding. There's 10 seconds. Am I right? Am I wrong, Flannel?
No, you're right.
Right? So the Buffalo Bills knowing that. So in what they did, it's trying to look in the bigger picture of that is because I don't see him. I see him making clock management is awful. This is another putting the clock management. But it's a different position that he was in. Does that make sense to anybody? I thought that it was something new for the Detroit Lions and Dan Campbell at the end of the game, and he failed again.
Yeah.
He failed again, but to me, it was a different situation. Look at the last 3 weeks, even on the road. I've seen the improvement by staying out of his way. He wasn't able to do that. How many times did we talk about that before this game?
Well,
Right?
I mean, if you're up 10 points or something, Dan Campbell can't screw it up. So you gotta be up. You gotta be in control of the game. But in the NFL, particularly in the last 2 minutes of a game, good teams can zip that ball up the field in like 10, 20 seconds. That's what they do. You know you're going to give up a big play. So why put yourself in that position? You had the ball. You had control. You could dictate whether it was going to be 23 seconds left to kick that field goal or 3 seconds left to kick that field goal. That was your decision. But you tried this play to Baby Shark, who we all identify is not a great football player. We all identify was not going to be here next year, right?
Right.
So there's an old saying in radio, play the hits. We were talking about Thanksgiving. What would you rather have on your plate? Turkey, macaroni, cheese, stuffings / dressing, or steamed vegetables?
The former.
Lions went to their steamed vegetables, and it wasn't good. And that's what cost them the game. Amon St. Brown is your traditional Thanksgiving dinner. You go to him, or you go to your running game. You've built this terrific offensive line. I know there's a couple pieces missing, but you built this offensive line. Have them decide the game, or have St. Brown decide the game. Not a fade / I don't know if I'm supposed to go deep or am I supposed to go fade. The quarterback and the wide receiver were not on the same page. And that's going to happen when you have a guy that's not as in tune with this team as he should be. And you're taking a big risk.
Well, and doesn't it seem
A lot
like
of risk to Anna might have nailed it. Here's Sam Flannel. They didn't use Tom Kennedy. Was a big mistake, wasn't it? He needed that one catch.
I would have rather gone to Tom Kennedy.
than DJ Chark, maybe. But doesn't it seem like Jared Goff and Amon-Ra St. Brown just have this magical connection? They're on the same page every time. And it was like that yesterday. Amon-Ra St. Brown balled out. He had an amazing game. It seemed like every time there was a big play to be needed, Amon-Ra St. Brown found a way to get open. So it just kind of baffles me that on that 3rd and 1.
Well, here, I'll throw this. On your biggest play, why don't you go to the guy that's making the big plays?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. He was running a short
So
crossing
right
route up the
there,
middle.
right there, coaching wise, is you didn't stay out of your own
Right.
way.
Yep.
You let everybody in the league, right, on a 3rd and 1 or a 4th and 1 on every other team knows that, oh, Mahomes, you better find Kelsey.
Yes.
Like all these different guys. We've agreed the reason that you could move on from Hawkinson is because Amon-Ra St. Brown his flight path is in the tight end's catching zone, right? He's as good with his hands short. I would just wouldn't you rather have the conversation of lack of execution, that they went there and didn't do it, right? So to me, right there is overthinking things. What happened is, as the 2-minute drill came down, the lights got brighter. The lights got brighter. The lights got brighter. And then we didn't execute. I think at the end of the day, Terry, when I watch other NFL teams, especially good NFL teams, that their quarterback and their offense wants to live and die at the end of the game with the ball, whether it's score a touchdown.
The star players, that's when they want the ball. I don't care if I'm double teamed or whatever. I'm getting the ball. The Lions, when Calvin Johnson was the wide receiver, if there was one play they had to make, they were going to Calvin Johnson. They didn't care if he was double teamed. Calvin Johnson was always open, even when he wasn't open. St. Brown is that guy too. He's going to be open even when he's not open.
It's always open.
I just got yelled at by Philippines On Demand, thinking I'm blaming Aaron Glenn, and Alicia came back yelling, I'm not blaming Aaron Glenn. No, I'm not blaming. I asked the question because people like Paul Thomas said he's got to be gone and stuff like this put in the position. I in fact think more on the game plan defensively to keep Buffalo to 28 points without the guys that you had. There was a gentleman that did set a franchise record, right, in his rookie debut in James Houston, right, with 2 sacks.
Hey, more on him later, right?
What's that?
More on him later, right?
Well, more on him later, but the fact is that guys stepped up, and to more so the coaching decisions, right, at the end of the game. I don't know why they're able to make the pass to Diggs 35 yards down the field. I'm not a defensive coordinator, but you mentioned it's a game of inches from being there. The fact is, I look at absolutes. They didn't get the job done.
No.
They didn't get the job done. What do you have to learn? You gave a Super Bowl contending team too much time on the clock.
Yeah, 23 seconds is too much time nowadays. But there were definitely some kind of SOL moments, though, too. And I don't know if you blame it on coaching or execution. That Jamal Williams fumble, that's definitely execution. That can't happen. They were driving in Bills territory. The Bills get the ball, go down and score, and make it 14-7. What about that 29-yard missed field goal by Michael Badgley that would have made it a 2-point game?
Right.
As an NFL kicker, you can't miss 29-yard field goals. You should be 100% on that. And then, of course, after getting that big red zone interception that we were all very happy about, they immediately give up a safety. So this team, there's just still something about them. There's still kind of an SOL feel, like they're not quite there yet. But, damn, I really thought they had a chance yesterday. But they still had some blunders, some Lions-like blunders that I can't get over.
Yeah, that safety was ridiculous. Jared Goff is sitting back there like it's like a 3-man rush.
Yeah.
No, when you're in the end zone, first of all, you should have a quick hitter. So that's on coaching. Then B, you put it in Jared Goff's hands, and he screwed it up. You don't have time when you're in the end zone.
No.
No, if you're at the 30-yard line, maybe you can take a little bit more time. Because if you get sacked, okay, they sack you at the 20. It doesn't cost you 2 points in the possession.
Yep.
So Jared Goff is like back there like, okay, I'm good. Let me look over the field. No. When you're in the end zone, it should be this: a screen pass, quick hitter, or something. Bam.
Man.
Because we got to get it out there. Or you run it one more time.
And I wish the Lions had a wide receiver who ran the short and intermediate routes really well, who dominated yesterday. Oh, that's right, they did. His name is Amon-Ra St. Brown. So there were a couple times where they chose not to go to him, where they ran kind of slow developing plays or fade routes. It just doesn't make sense. You had Amon-Ra St. Brown is quickly becoming one of the most reliable receivers in all of the NFL. That Jared Goff to Amon-Ra St. Brown connection is lethal. So, and he was the best player on the field a lot of times that game, the whole field. So there were a couple times I wish they would have used him a little bit more. But, man, at the end of the day, they lost. So there's definitely kind of a finger of blame to go around. And that's what happens when you lose. It's a very win or loss business. And the Lions had a chance to be 5-6, be right in the thick of the playoff race. But now they're 4-7, looking at a must-win next week.